Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam's vision for national progress. Specifically, we're looking at the ideas in Kalam on progress, which he wrote with Y.S. Rajan. Now, many of you will know Wings of Fire, his personal story, or maybe India 2020, that big future vision.
Right.
But Kalam on progress, this one feels different. It's like his definitive how-to guide. It's very practical.
It really is. Less theoretical, much more of a blueprint, you could say. A call to action almost. No?
Exactly. So our mission here is to, well, unpack the core insights, the strategies from this roadmap. We want to see how he defined progress and, crucially, how he thought it could actually be achieved.
And right away, it's striking how he reframes progress. He argues it's much more than just, the usual economic numbers like GDP.
Okay. So what is it then for him?
For Kalam, progress is almost a feeling. It's experiential. Think about a farmer smiling after a good harvest or seeing a young woman coding in some rural center.
Right, tangible things.
Tangible things. Clean air, clean water, governance you can trust. It sets up this really holistic view.
I see.
And it's built on this belief that real progress happens when technology meets compassion and when growth meets inclusion.
Technology meets compassion, growth meets inclusion.
Yeah, and the government's role to facilitate, help things along, not control everything.
That's a really powerful starting point.
Yeah.
So if progress is this feeling, this lived experience of dignity, how did he plan to make that real? How do you operationalize a feeling?
Well, that's where his 10-point agenda comes in. It's really the heart of the book.
Okay, the 10-point agenda.
And importantly, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky list. It's backed up by policy ideas, case studies, his own, vast experience.
So it's grounded. Let's touch on those points. What's the spirit behind them?
Okay, so first, food and nutritional security. For him, this was fundamental, not just filling bellies, but nourishing hope, often thinking about local tech-driven farming solutions.
Nourishing hope.
Second, healthcare for all. The big emphasis here was affordable, rural health tech. Think mobile clinics, telemedicine reaching villages, not just fancy city hospitals.
Right, accessibility.
Third, education with value. This wasn't about memorizing facts. It was about sparking creativity, critical thinking, getting kids to solve actual problems.
Making it relevant.
Fourth, ICT for development. Kalam famously said villages need good Wi-Fi, maybe more than flyovers. He saw digital access as this great equalizer.
Interesting.
Fifth, an infrastructure revolution, but focused on reaching the last mile. Roads, railways, yes, but also clean energy to power that rural growth.
Got it.
Sixth, a self-reliant economy, not about closing off, but about made in India, meaning jobs for India's youth, boosting local innovation.
Makes sense.
Seventh, environmental stewardship. Very clear on this. Progress that destroys the environment. That's not progress at all.
That's a crucial point.
Eighth, governance reforms. Shifting government from, just pushing files to actually delivering services efficiently, putting people first, using tech for transparency. Ninth, an innovation ecosystem. The goal here was getting Indians to be creators, not just users of technology from elsewhere, solving local problems local.
Innovators, not just users.
And finally, 10th, moral leadership. Kalam was adamant that character, ethics, that's the absolute backbone. Without it, nothing else holds up.
Wow, that's quite a comprehensive list. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Which of those points feels most urgent or relevant to you personally right now? Now, you mentioned technology a few times there. Given Kalam's background, he was a missile scientist. That's not surprising. Tech is woven through this. He seemed to have this deep faith in its power to, I think the phrase was, erase inequality.
Absolutely. He saw technology as this incredible tool for leveling the playing field.
How so? What kinds of examples did he focus on?
Well, very practical things. Telemedicine was a big one, bringing specialist advice to remote areas. Teleeducation, closing the opportunity gap for rural students. Things like agri-portals, giving farmers real-time market info, mobile banking reaching people who never had access before, e-governance, making state services easier to use.
So using tech to bridge those gaps.
Exactly. His point was, these aren't luxuries. They should be like basic rights. They can overcome huge social and economic divides. He had that powerful quote, something like, technology must be affordable, accessible, and adapted to the poorest first.
Adapted to the poorest first. That's key.
It flips the usual model, doesn't it? Not tech trickling down, but starting where the need is greatest.
That focus on the poorest first, on accessibility, it leads naturally to another big theme, right? Empowering rural India.
Mm.
He didn't just see it as a voting bloc.
No, not at all. He called rural India the soul of the nation. It was far more profound than just demographics for him.
So what was his plan for uplifting this soul?
He developed this really innovative concept called PUR,
PUR.
providing urban amenities in rural areas. The idea wasn't just to drop a few services into villages. It was about transforming rural areas into self-sufficient hubs.
Hubs, like mini-cities.
Sort of. Ensuring they have good roads, yes, but also local jobs, reliable internet, good schools, the things people usually move to cities for.
Ah, I see.
It's quite a radical thought, really. He basically asked, instead of everyone migrating to crowded cities, why don't we take the essential benefits of city life out to the villages? Grow opportunities where people actually live.
That's a fascinating approach, taking the city to the village, in a sense.
In a functional sense, yes. Promoting dignity and preventing distress migration.
And who did he see as the driving force for this kind of change? It always comes back to the youth with Kalam, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He had such a direct connection with young people. His message was so empowering. He didn't just say, you are the future. He'd tell them, you are not the future. You are the present.
You are the present. That's immediate.
Exactly. It gives
Yeah.
them agency now. He was brilliant at sharing stories of young innovators, kids solving local problems, often with, as he put it, no funding, just fire in the belly.
Oh, fire in the belly. I like that.
It was about showing them their potential wasn't something distant. It was right there, ready to be used. And that naturally connected to his push for changing education.
Right. You mentioned education earlier in the 10 points.
Yes. He strongly argued against just rote learning. He wanted education to build problem-solving skills, instill values like integrity, and really foster a sense of nation-building, creating active participants.
Thinkers and doers, not just test takers.
Precisely.
So he's talking about transforming the economy, education, rural life. What about the government itself? The machinery of state. He had that phrase, strong institutions, not strong men.
Yes, that's such a critical distinction he made.
Why was that so important for his vision?
Because fundamentally, he understood that real lasting progress can't depend on just one charismatic leader, however good they might be. You need systems.
Right, systems that endure.
Robust, transparent, fair systems. So he pushed for specific reforms, using digital tools to make services efficient, cutting corruption, decentralizing power down to local levels, and importantly, tracking results focusing on outcomes, not just processes.
Any specific examples of that?
He loved simple, practical examples, things like getting a birth certificate online or farmers receiving land record updates via SMS, seemingly small things that actually revolutionize people's daily interactions with the government.
Making it less of an obstacle course.
And more of a genuine service provider. Truly, people first, as he said.
Beyond the human systems, though, Kalam was also deeply concerned about the environment, wasn't he? Development can't destroy nature.
He was absolutely clear on that. It was non-negotiable for him. Progress at the cost of the planet isn't progress.
It sounds good, but how did he think India could actually achieve that? Balancing development with environmental protection?
His vision was for sustainable industrialization. And again, it wasn't just a nice phrase. He had concrete ideas.
Such as?
Massive investment in renewable energy, solar, wind, developing biofuels, getting clean cooking fuels to every home. He also talked about urban forests, smart waste recycling programs.
Practical steps.
Yes. And he gave this stark warning about the climate debt India would face if it ignored its natural resources, its rivers, forests, coasts. Environmental care wasn't optional. It was integral to true development.
So the focus is heavily internal, transforming India from within. But did his vision extend outwards? How did he see India's place in the world?
Oh, definitely. While the internal transformation was key, he always envisioned a globally respected India. It wasn't just about fixing things at home.
What did that global role look like in his view?
He called for more active engagement, stronger trade diplomacy, building strategic partnerships, especially in technology. He wanted India to lead in areas like space, AI, climate tech.
Leading, not just participating.
Exactly. And he had this idea of India being a giver on the world stage, exporting not just goods, but also peace, knowledge, innovative ideas, contributing India's unique strengths to the world.
A giver, not just a taker. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Leveraging its strengths for global benefit.
Now, perhaps the deepest layer of all this, his belief that spiritual strength and ethics must power material growth. That seems quite unique, blending the pragmatic with the profound.
It's arguably the foundation of his entire philosophy. It wasn't just an add-on, it was central.
What did that mean in practice? How did he connect ethics to, say, economic policy or technology?
He often drew on India's ancient wisdom, but not in a nostalgic way. He saw it as a practical compass for modern times.
A compass.
Yeah. His core message was, well, pretty straightforward. A nation just can't achieve sustainable progress if it's riddled with corruption, if people are divided, if it's all about self-interest.
So the moral fabric is essential.
Absolutely essential. Material growth is needed, of course, but it has to be partnered with truth, compassion, unity. Without that ethical foundation, he felt any gains would just be, well, hollow, unsustainable in the long run.
As you get towards the end of the book, Kalam on Progress, that mix of clear-eyed planning and deep idealism, it becomes incredibly motivating, doesn't it?
It really does. He doesn't just leave you with the plan, he makes you feel it's actually possible.
Yeah.
And that's when he lands that really powerful line. A developed India is not a dream. It's a decision.
It's a decision. That puts the onus back on people, doesn't it?
Completely. It's a direct challenge, a call to individual responsibility. He urged everyone, students, teachers, officials, doctors, farmers, everyone, to see themselves as active partners in progress.
Not just waiting for someone else to fix things.
Exactly. His final message boils down to, don't wait for change, be the change. Build the India you dream of. He genuinely believed that collective individual action could reshape the nation.
You know, looking back at it, Kalam on Progress really does feel like more than just a book. It's almost like a movement captured on paper.
That's a good way to put it.
It manages to blend science with soul,
Yeah.
Top-down governance ideas with grassroots realities, big dreams with hard data. Going through it like this, it almost feels like getting one last mentoring session with Kalam himself. You get that sense of gentle wisdom, but also real urgency.
Yeah, that combination was uniquely his. And maybe to leave our listeners with something to think about, we can circle back to that core idea of his.
Okay.
He said, and it's such a powerful measure. Progress is meaningless if it doesn't reach the last person standing in the last village of this country.
The last person in the last village.
So the question for you, listening right now, might be, how does that idea resonate in your own world, in your job, your community? What does progress that reaches the last person actually look like right where you are? And maybe, what's one small step you could take towards that?